If you have bad dirt, you're going to have a bad garden.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Mike Berlin and this is Wild Fed Family. And right now it's the second week of February and spring is in the air, sort of. I got about 6 weeks until my last frost date, which means there's a lot of things that I can start putting in the ground now. Stuff like carrots, all of my brassicas, which include cabbage, collard greens, and broccoli. I got all sorts of stuff like radishes, lettuce, etc. But before I do any of that, I have to do a little bit of soil prep on my garden, and that's actually what this video is about today. So right up underneath me, I'm sitting on a raised bed that I built last year, and it is 100 feet long, about 3 feet wide, and 2 foot tall. So we're gonna go ahead and prep this garden, and I'm gonna talk to you about why I like using raised beds and why it makes soil preparation in the spring 10 times easier. So last year when I filled these beds, what I did is I went to the landfill, and they have free mulch, and a lot of it is super decomposted, and I'll give you a closer look. You can actually see some worms in there, but it's pretty much broken down. So I filled the first 16 inches with that super decomposted wood chip. The next, I don't know, 8 to 10 inches was soil, and I topped it off with just pine shavings for mulch. And basically what this does is as this breaks down, it turns into soil, and that soil is super micronutrient dense, and the problem with it is it settles and it breaks down. So I got to bring all this up back to the top, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I had all of these beds filled last year all the way up to the brim here. Now it has settled a good 12 inches, and that is the top of my soil from last year. That's the pine shavings that I'm talking about. So there's actually two main reasons why I really like using raised beds. One is you don't have to till your soil, and two, you don't have to bend over when you're planting, picking, or weeding. And if you look down this entire bed, you can see that I've actually added more wood chips to it. So I'm going to go ahead and rake that out, and I'm going to show you the next step. So I had to add a couple wheelbarrow fulls just to get it to the right height, but as you can see, I'm about 4 to 6 inches from the top of the rim. I'll sit down and take a break here for a minute, but it is time for step number 2. And what I got is every year I get a dump truck load of topsoil delivered to the house, and I actually got it right up there next to the greenhouse, and I got to haul it down here and fill it to the very top of the rim. And this will settle a little bit, and I want to leave it somewhat mounded. But this stuff is absolutely packed with horse manure and just good sandy soil and a little bit of clay in it. And last year I used all of that in my upper garden, and it's the best garden I've ever had. Now, you do inherit a little bit of risk when you use manure, and the reason being is cows and horses and all those animals that you get your manure from end up eating hay. And a lot of the times the farmers will spray the fields with a broadleaf herbicide, and that herbicide kills off all of the stuff like the dandelions, but it ends up in the Bermuda or whatever grass they're feeding to their animals. Now when the animals eat it, it passes through them and it doesn't harm them, but it ends up in the manure. Now the good thing is that herbicide has a fairly short half-life, so if you run into an issue, you can let that dirt pile sit for a year or two, but I haven't had any issues with this manure mixed in. Now it will kill stuff like tomatoes, cabbage, lettuce, everything that has a broadleaf. So weigh your risks, and if I were you, I'd do a small sample spot, grow a tomato in a pot. If you don't have any issues, then you're good to go. But that's enough talking. Let me top all this off. Now this may take a little while, so I'll go ahead and check back once I got it filled up. All right, so a little bit of time has elapsed, and I think I'm in a pretty good spot right now to show you the different layers. So let me give you a look.
This right here is the amount that it's sunken down from last year. You can see all my strawberries popping up that I planted about this time last year. Stepping up now, we have the mulch layer that you saw me put in. And over here is the transition to the dirt. And you can see the dirt comes all the way to the top, and it's generously mounded over everything. Now I still have a couple things that are growing in this garden that are doing well, including my collard greens and this spinach patch. So I just worked dirt up to it. But right now, this is ready for seed. But before I put seeds down, I got one more thing to show you. Now you may be thinking between all of the decomposted mulch and this really broken down fine wood chip, horse manure, that's gonna be enough. But I like to add one more thing, and that's just organic garden fertilizer. And I just lightly sprinkle this in to go ahead and replace some of the things that may be missing from this soil. Once I lay my seeds, I give them a light coating, like a 1/4 inch of these very fine pine shavings. And once all the seeds start to sprout and I can see the plants, I go ahead and I infill at least 2 inches of these pine shavings, and that helps keep everything moist and allows your plants to thrive. So that's pretty much a wrap for this garden, and I'd like to say I'm done or even close to done, but I actually have 3 more gardens similar size to do, so I need to get to work. So that's it. It's pretty straightforward. You just layer on a couple coats of really organic, broken down material, and your garden is going to thrive. And hey, if you want a puppy, I got a couple for sale still. So go ahead, leave something in the comments, let me know, and always be sure to like, share, subscribe, grow your own food, and until next time, I'm out. See ya.